Yeah, I think we're going live in 3. Boom, and we're live. Yeah, so I accidentally sent our live feed to my own channel, which is what happened. There we go. Which is a shame because I made an absolutely unbelievably funny Alex E. Heath joke. I hope he's here listening. Probably not. So you said you saw a picture of him, Leander, on his Instagram. Should we show it here live on the show?
No, it's Lewis. He said he saw a picture.
Oh, okay. Do we lose Leander again? It looks like he's frozen.
Oh, God's sake! Really?
Let's see here.
Is he frozen or is he just unanimated?
Can you hear me?
He is an unbelievable ventriloquist. I can't even see his lips moving.
Yeah, really, it's crazy.
Leander, you need to take this act on the road.
Hear you loud and clear, but man, the freeze frame is shocking.
Look, he's loud. I can't even see his lips moving. This is unreal.
Amazing, isn't it? All right, I better restart then, huh?
Well, don't restart because we're going to lose your cast link.
Oh,
just I'm going to boot you out of the Skype and if it
it's
happens,
going to do it again, isn't it?
You think so? What was the last time you restarted your Mac?
I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
Great.
I'll just rejoin cast, right? It won't ruin anything except the QuickTime recording, I suppose. Oh, bugger.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. If you want to,
do you want to try it again?
If you want to restart,
I'll close a few.
Yeah.
Let me close a few windows.
Yeah, try that. I'm gonna boot you out of the call, and then you can rejoin. Shout out to everyone who's joining. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here.
Shocking.
Yeah, we thought we had them all ironed out before the show, but as you can see from Leander's truly impressive ventriloquism, he's actually not as good as we say. It's just his image is frozen here. He's looking at something very seriously. The expression he has on his face, it's like someone just told him that the world has run out of beer. That's the most serious I've ever seen Leander look. All right, let's I'm gonna boot you out of the again. I'm actually, to be honest, this is actually very cathartic for me. I'm booting you out. There we go. And then Leander's gonna really try to rejoin. So shout out to Stephen Bird. Hey, y'all. Good to see you, Reese. AMH. Hey, guys. Hello. From overcast, warm, muggy London. Oh, geez, really? Yeah, it's not super. It's a little bit sunnier now. Not nice here in Seattle either. Stephen Bird. It's 4 a.m. in Sydney. Oh, my. Sydney's watching at 4 a.m. God, if we did it at a different time, we would pull in a whole new Aussie audience. We've talked about moving the show to a different time. And that may happen in the future, but for right now, we're sticking with middle of the day since that seems to be when everyone is available. And shout out to Dan DeWitt's muggy as in warm, not California muggy. Lol. Thank you for clarifying that, AMH. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting observation. So we probably would have a huge deluge of Australian listeners if we would just start later in the day. Then we might lose some of our UK. Maybe we should do the show at like 3 p.m. our time, Lewis.
3 p.m. our time?
Yeah, and then we could. That means it would be like late. What was that? Late. It'd be like early afternoon in Australia, and then I don't know, like in the early evening in the UK.
Yeah.
Does it look like I'm drinking pond water?
Or something else?
Reduce, reuse.
The ultimate recycling.
No one recycles better than me, Lewis. And I don't just mean I'm sorting.
This is a glimpse of the future.
I had a cicada lunch earlier.
That's what's known as a West Coast refresher.
I had my cicada lunch earlier, and now I'm having a nice, refreshing drink. Oh man! So we got a lot of Apple stuff to talk about, guys. We're already having too much fun. Oh, look, Leander's back. Look at that.
Yeah, did that work?
Yeah, did you rejoin the cast as well?
Yeah,
you
I never
did.
left it.
Oh, you never left it? Oh, okay, great. So, yeah, welcome back. It looks like you're actually moving now. Which,
yeah, hopefully
honestly,
it works.
I don't know which I enjoy more. So, let's see here. Reese Grundy, nearly 8 p.m. here in Manchester, UK. Oh, shoot. So, if we started later, it'd be way later in the UK. But if we started like 5 hours later, then maybe people would catch the early morning crowd. Anyway, okay, should we start getting into the show here? We waited long enough. We spent our entire pre-show talking about drinking pee-pee and waiting for Leander to rejoin the call. Leander, did you see my drink?
Oh God, what the hell?
Nasty.
That was more the reaction I was expecting from Lewis. Lewis was trying to be polite. Yeah, this is what I'm drinking. I drink it every day. It's probiotic water. I actually make this stuff, and it's great.
I'm sure you do. Drink a bunch of water, make that stuff.
And when I say I mean literally my body.
I can turn beer into that stuff.
Yeah, me too. And I volunteer for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is what the toilet water looks like on the morning after Leander's finished partying. when his liver is trying to abort. Let's see here. Okay, let me bring up Mrs. D. Mrs. D. We are ready for you, Mrs. D. Hey, I'm ready where you are. Let me go ahead and get my notes here, and we'll get this show on the road. I want to make sure I got my volume levels up here as well. And here we go. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron from Elijah. Join me today. He's in talks with Elon Musk to have a Neuralink installed in his brain so we can have a future version of iOS installed directly into his brainstem. They've warned him the procedure could cause a total loss of bowel control, but that already happens during the Apple keynotes. He's the founder of iMac.
Oh my heavens.
Also with us, he's been holed up in his house for so long. When he finally ventured outside the other day, his neighbors had to kindly remind him it's polite to wear underwear and pants on the street and not just a t-shirt and flip-flops. He's the managing editor of CultCast. Lewis Wallace is here.
Little known fact, not even required here in San Francisco.
That's true, but it is the polite thing to do.
Do what you want.
Not the legal thing, but definitely the polite thing. And what's hilarious is like when we first started recording the show, you literally referred to the fact that you're not wearing any pants.
Well, that's why I got the tight shot. I don't want anybody,
Yeah.
I don't want to run afoul of anybody's sensibilities.
Well, speaking of sensibilities, I think you've offended a few people with that shirt.
Hey, man, it is summer in San Francisco. It's 81 degrees and a balmy breeze outside.
It could be
like
140.
This.
I don't think it's ever an excuse to wear that shirt.
It's so hot, and here I am stuck in the attic room
I'm just
talking
joking
on
with
the
you,
internet.
Lewis. I appreciate the fact that you've worn that shirt. It makes me feel like I'm somewhere tropical. So I just give you a hard time. But I have a shirt that looks almost exactly like that. I was just joking earlier. It just makes me think that you have a new nanny who came to care for you and made you that out of your curtains.
I'm trying to throw off the Skype filters. I want everybody's screen to be look like ants crawling around. Pretty sure that's what it looks like.
Oh man! All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this episode. So let's run through the notes here real fast. Oh, Beats Studio Buds. Did you know that Apple announced a new product this week? Did you know that happened? Well, we will talk about it and tell you what you need to know. The Beats Studio Buds. We also want to talk about Apple Watch Series 7. If this report is true, and I believe that it probably is going to be almost entirely, 100% accurate, we pretty much know exactly what's going to happen with Apple Watch Series 7. And Lewis was commenting before. He was like, is this it? And that was exactly my reaction. If this is all we get, this is going to be an absolute friggin' snooze fest. So we'll go over that. Also, really cool feature added to iOS 15, the how to get notified if you leave something behind. I call it the left behind notification. You get a left behind notification if you've been leaving something behind. And so we'll tell you a little bit about it. We also have this great piece in iMac. Do I have browser mode up? I do somewhere. Yeah, let me see. Let me see if it works. Everyone cross your fingers. Yes! 9 great but easily overlooked features in iOS 15. So we'll probably just cruise through this at like Mach 4. We might even hit ludicrous speed. But we just want you to know that the story is there. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then, of course, we have to talk about how some M1 Macs have been arriving to people's houses bent. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but I would say it's funny, but it's kind of surprising. It actually is also funny. But some people are getting their iMacs bent, so that's interesting. Something that you should know about. Another We got a
Off kilter gate.
off.
What do they have a gate word for this yet?
Uh,
Tilt gate? What's it?
we got to come up with something.
Slant gate?
We got to come up with something clever that they can use.
I
For
like
the,
off
for the-
kilter gate.
Off
Yeah,
kilter
it
gate.
really rolls off the tongue. Off kilter gate.
I like that one as well. We should just put a hashtag on that and call it done. And then look, I think eventually Apple's going to have to allow people to sideload their apps onto the iPhone. I think this is incoming. We'll talk more about this. There was a conference where Tim Cook spoke at, and of course he's not for it, and he's trying to convince people that this would be a terrible feature. But honestly, it kind of feels like this has to happen. Apple's getting way too much pressure to not allow people to do this, which would of course drastically alter, how you can interact with your iPhone, which I think would be cool. And then also, PSA, you got to know about this. Your Apple TV Plus subscription is coming to an end, and if you don't want TC to reach his hand into your pocket in the middle of the night while you're sleeping and pull out that $5 bill, you better stay tuned to the end, because we're going to tell you what you need to know about Apple TV Plus. Apple's made some changes to it, which you need to know about, and then also we'll tell you how to cancel it in case you don't want to Google that for yourself. Before we dive in, let me give a very hearty... Here, let me Google that for you. In a segment I call, hey, let me Google that for you, we'll be describing something that you can literally solve yourself with a 2-second Google search or a DuckDuckGo search. Actually, no.
Shh, don't give away our secrets.
That would never work with DuckDuckGo, because you would actually never find what you're looking for with DuckDuckGo. You'll have utter and complete privacy, but you'll also never find anything that you're actually looking for.
Duck what?
DuckDuckGo, not where you want to be. That's the new name. All right, squarespace.com/CultCast. If you would like to build a beautiful website to promote your business, your ideas, build a website where you can sell products and services of all kinds, sell your digital sneeze noises like the one that Tina just made.
It could be an NFT.
We need to NFT that immediately. It's a really powerful website that you could build and manage all by yourself. You can build a blog. You can build an online store. This is something I always tell people about, the personal site. It's an impactful one-page site that you can add your social media to, some copy, maybe a large image, or even like a moving video, just something to really give a big wow moment for when someone finds you on the internet. And it's a really great thing to have available if you're going to be looking for a job. Maybe you're coming out of college or something. It's useful for that. You can, of course, promote your small business or your event or a wedding. Everything that you need to build a beautiful website is all included in your Squarespace subscription. And I always tell people, just go to squarespace.com/cultcast and build a website. It's so easy. You don't need to know how to code. And you'll enjoy the whole process because the design is so beautiful. Everything is so well thought out. And yet it's so powerful. You can have a website up in minutes and just use it for 2 weeks. And there's no risk. You don't even have to give them your credit card information or anything. And then if you want to continue your service, use code CultCast at checkout. You'll save 10% off your first purchase. I always buy my service a year at a time because it gives you an additional discount. And you can use code CultCast on your first purchase to get even more of a discount. I call that a double discount. I just made that up on the fly. It's very creative. You get a double discount there and a free domain name with a year of service. Squarespace.com/CultCast. And the offer code to use at checkout is code CultCast. All right. What should we start with here? Oh, yeah. Should we talk about, or should we at least tell people about Beats Studio Buds? So this product is interesting. Apple literally just announced this product this week. And, they're basically just different looking AirPods Pro. That's, they're almost the same price. They come in colors. So if you're into colors, then, that's something that you might be interested in. I actually kind of like the design. They've really cleaned up the look of Beats, I think, and made them look much more Apple-y. And so you might just want to get them for the aesthetic. They have active noise cancellation. They have transparency mode, just like AirPods Pro. I'm going to guess that they are much more bass heavy. They say Beats were born to deliver music as the artist intended. Yeah, if that artist was Dr. Dre, I don't think that they're going to be something that we're going to want to use to listen to classical music. But I suppose you can. So yeah, they have 2 distinct listening modes, active noise cancellation, and then transparency mode. And then the external-facing microphones mix the sounds of your surroundings back into your music for a natural, open listening experience. Up to 8 hours of listening time. And with 2 additional charges provided by its pocket-sized charging case. This is literally, I can literally be reading you the description for the AirPods Pro. In fact, it looks like they just copied.
They're
and pasted
$100 cheaper. That's a pretty significant discount, you know.
it.
So
Are
you're
they?
getting
Are they
kinda
actually $100
AirPods.
cheaper? Because the AirPods
Yeah,
Pro are on sale all the time.
well, you know, I mean, like from the list price. So the AirPods Pro are supposed to be $250, and these are $150, which is a pretty good savings. But you know, I was reading that the ANC is, you know, kind of middling, not super great.
Really? So not as good as AirPods Pro.
No, that's what some of the reviewers are saying, early reviewers, and also they're not as bass heavy as you might think. You know, they're actually sort of fairly well balanced. Sound is supposed to be pretty good.
That's interesting. So wait a second. I know this might sound like a really dumb question. What do you use to charge the AirPods Pro? Is it Lightning? It's Lightning, isn't it?
No, actually, that's another good point. It's USB-C.
For the AirPods Pro, it's USB-C.
Oh, sorry. I thought,
No,
you
for
said
the
Beats.
buds.
Sorry.
Okay, that's what I thought. And these charge with USB-C. So now that actually that is useful. So you would have one less cable to bring around. I mean, I went on a trip this last weekend. We're still in this weird phase with Apple where you got to bring like 18 different cables and all these different chargers just to charge all your different stuff. It's such a horrendous nightmare. Although do I have it up here? I did finally get my MagSafe Duo charger for the iPhone and for the Apple Watch. Dude, that thing is great. It's really dense. I wish I had it here to show you. I left it inside the house. It's really dense. The magnets are really satisfying. So like when you fold the case over, let me see if I can show a picture of this. When you fold the case over, it like snaps together. You can use it to charge your iPhone since it has MagSafe support, your iPhone 12. It also works on iPhone 11. I mean, I have an iPhone 11 Pro and it worked fine. It doesn't grab onto your phone like it does with the iPhone 12. But oh, here we go. Yeah, and actually, Lewis, I got this via the discount that I was alerted to from CultMac, and I love it. Oh yeah, it's normally $130. I got mine for $100 thanks to CultMac deals. And as you can see, I'm showing it here on the screen. It has one side for the iPhone and then one side for the Apple Watch. You plug it in via Lightning. Now, the only thing I don't love about it is the charging is noticeably slower because you're using a 20-watt charger instead of charging your iPhone at 20 watts. Now you're splitting the power between your iPhone and your Apple Watch if you're charging both at the same time. But it's so portable and it's so functional that if you're going to be using it to like charge your iPhone and your Apple Watch, you know, overnight, then this is like the perfect travel charger. It was expensive. $100 is totally absurd, but dude, it works so well. I'm assuming you guys don't have one of these.
No.
Well, I'm more posh than you. I mean, that's not shocking.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a second. How did LK not end up with one of these? Later, you don't have one of these?
The travel case? No.
Yeah. No. The MagSafe Duo. Anyway.
Can you show that to me?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
It's the one that it's got the little like plasticky kind of cover to it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like kind of flexible, kind of malleable.
Whoa. Yeah. Watch this, Lewis. I'm about to blow your mind here. Can you see my screen?
No, of course not.
Wait a second. Look at this. There it is, right there, Lewis.
Right.
Now you can
Nice
see
cat
exactly what I'm
cursor.
showing the listeners. What's that?
Nice cat cursor. Oh, now it's a banana. Oh,
Well, yeah, it's a cat when I'm not over something that can be clicked. Oh wait, no, it's a banana when it's over something.
you
that
really
can be
are
clicked.
posh. I had no idea.
And then
You
it turns
change
into
your
a cat.
cursor to a banana and a cat?
Yeah, you know what's funny is that you guys are just seeing this for the first time because our listeners have seen it for like 6 months since we've been doing this.
Now I know why people watch the live stream.
Well, we just had a huge amount of people crater off, so we should probably move on.
So you're saying that thing's slower than like just the regular MagSafe puck?
Yeah, well, it depends on which MagSafe puck you get, but it's definitely slower than using the 20-watt charger just exclusively because now actually, if you're using wireless charging, then maybe it's not slower because because the maximum amount of charging you can get over wireless, I think, is 10 watts. So in that case, actually, this may not be slower, but if you're going to be using your 20-watt charger just to plug into your iPhone and charge that way, then of course that's a lot faster. So, and actually, wait, I take that back, because with the MagSafe charger, doesn't it go up to 14 watts? I forget what the exact wattage is, but you get additional speed if you're using a MagSafe charger with the iPhone 12. 15. Okay. So yeah, I would imagine that it's probably slower. At least it seems slower because like when I plug my phone in, it's just so fast. Anyway, so there you go. That is the new Beats Studio Buds. I think they look great, man. I mean, if anything else, the design alone is what would make me want to, upgrade to these.
Have you
Yeah, the
tried
controls
using
are
any of
supposed-
those types of things though?
What's that?
Have you tried using any of those sort of you know, earbuds with no stems? I guess.
I haven't, but I would welcome the aesthetic. I know that much.
Hmm.
Since
I kind of prefer the way the stems
you like having the stems.
work.
You're
I
a
don't know.
stem guy.
I read some things about these Beats. For one thing, they don't have the H1 or W1 chip. They have some proprietary Beats chip. Although 9 to 5 Mac, they said that they didn't notice any real effect. Although it doesn't allow automatic device switching and iCloud sync for pairing.
Oh, okay. So there are some. Yeah, that's interesting. There are some compromises here, which would make sense because they are cheaper, and they even say that they use. What did they say here? They were talking about Bluetooth, and I thought it was interesting that they didn't mention anything about W1. Oh yeah, industry class leading Class 1 Bluetooth for extended range and fewer dropouts. Okay, so they don't have W1. There you go. IPX4 rated. Okay, so that's good if you got sweaty ear holes if you're going to be working out on these. But they do seem to have all the other features of AirPods Pro. So I'm going to guess the build is a little bit less robust, and you are going to be missing out on the W1 chips, the automatic switching. Sorry, Lewis, what were you going to say?
I just at some point, like the way that the AirPods work with all of your different devices, that's worth something. And I don't know. Every time I try another, like I have not tried these, but when I try other brands of earbuds, I have some Soundcore ones here I've been testing. They sound great. They cost a whole lot less than AirPods Pro. But then at some point it's like, well, is it worth $100 for that ease of everything, automatically connecting? And I mean, I definitely notice it when I'm not using AirPods.
Well, I think for a lot of people, they're not going to care about any of that stuff. They're just,
Right.
and they're going to see that these are cheaper. They
All
look
about the price.
almost identical to AirPods Pro, and they don't have those stupid stems hanging off of them. Although the AirPods Pro stem is a lot better than the regular AirPods.
They don't look anything like AirPods Pro. They look like every other in-ear.
Yeah, you think so? They got
Yeah,
hot swappable tips, so you can.
I mean, I think they look fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. They don't look like AirPods Pro.
I bet
And
you these.
I read a lot of things saying like, the noise cancellation is not as good, which some people don't think the AirPods Pro noise cancellation is adequate. And I read some things saying that the microphone, when you're using it for calls and things, not nearly as good.
I believe that.
Again,
Yeah.
not my personal experience with it. I haven't tried it, but it sounds like there's definitely, some differences in like level of capability.
That's actually a great point. I didn't consider that. Yeah, I bet you the mic quality is probably worse and maybe significantly worse. I mean, look, they had to cut corners somewhere. These things are $100 less, as Leander pointed out, but they do look cool, man. They're cool looking earbuds, I gotta say. And not having the stems in your ears at $150, that's full price. You're gonna see specials on these all the time, especially like during like Christmas and stuff. You're gonna be able to find these like for like $120. They're gonna be so much cheaper. Anyway, I wasn't expecting to spend so much time on this because we got to talk about Apple
Detour.
Watch. But yeah, surprise! We spent more time talking about something than we expected. Let's move on to Apple Watch. There, medium-sized Lewis Wallace, because we got some new details to share, and this comes straight out of the mouth of Mark Gurman, so we know it's gospel truth. And I heard a big old loud whoopee cushion go off in my mind. I don't know about you when I saw this.
I don't like the idea of it coming straight from his mouth to my mouth. It makes me think of a little baby bird. Anyway, Apple Watch Series 7 will feature updated display, and the Explorer Edition, that's the ruggedized one that's rumored supposedly will ship in 2022. So Apple Watch Series 7 boasts faster processor, better wireless connectivity, and a new improved screen, says this new report from Bloomberg. Screen will have thinner, I hate this word, I always pronounce it wrong, bezels. And a
What are you
new
going to say? Bezels?
I almost say Bezos. I always want to say Bezos, like
Bezos.
Beelzebub.
Like
Beelzebub.
Jeff
Inner
Bezos.
Beelzebubs. And a new lamination technique that brings the display closer to the front cover. This would be the first. It's also rumored to have, like more squared off edges, as we've discussed in the past. First big Apple Watch form factor redesign since 2018. Here's the bummer part of all this. Supposedly, the body temperature sensor that was planned for this year's update has been pushed back to the 2022. I don't know why it says 2022 iPhone. Oh my God, I got to edit this story. Anyway, and
Just do it while you're reading it. Can you go into edit mode and just sit there and edit on the
I wish I had a zapper. Anyway, a rumored blood sugar sensor for monitoring glucose levels is likely several years away. So, honestly, like the blood glucose thing, that's the big like killer feature that people have been talking about for a while. That'll really be like a game changer. And like if they come out with that, you're gonna feel like you have to upgrade. And I'm not 100% surprised that ain't coming this year. But if they can't even get like a body temperature sensor added to it, I mean, doesn't that seem pretty basic?
It does, yeah. But I wonder if there's some complications. I wonder if it's more complicated than it sounds.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean, everything's more.
I guess it must be.
Yeah, it just seems like an odd thing to not be able to include. Especially, I mean, I don't know. Temperature has been a pretty common thing to have taken here lately, right? COVID and what that.
Yeah,
so who knows? I mean, maybe we're out of COVID. Maybe, I mean, certainly the entire world is not out of COVID. So it would be nice to have that this year. I mean, I hope to God the 2022 Apple Watch comes around. We're not really that worried about our body temperature. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty. If this report is true, it's kind of like, what are we going to upgrade for? Although.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was looking at this and I was like, what a snooze fest.
Yeah,
so you get
but
a
I gotta
faster processor. I mean, oh wow, a faster processor. You don't say. You'll have the slightly different body redesign, which I think is going to be the marquee feature. Hey, look, it's a slightly slimmer or slightly more squared off design like the iPad, and then
green.
It's green.
Yeah, but it's that sensor. Gurman's report is kind of a bummer. Like several years. If you what was the name of that company, the British company that Apple's teamed up with? We talked about a couple of weeks ago.
I can't remember the name. Let me see if I can find it on the fly here.
But they have a new sensor. They call it. It's like a blood lab on a chip. And I was looking at a couple of their decks. From they've got an IPO coming up, and they were saying that their technology is going to be commercialized in 2022 to 2023.
Oh well.
So that would indicate next year.
Okay.
If their timeline is correct.
And
they say that their biggest customer is Apple.
Very interesting.
Right now, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the game-changing feature. If they actually add a sensor that can do your glucose, that is a revolutionary feature. And it's funny, I feel like we have a perpetual carrot that TC is just always like, hey, y'all, come get a nibble.
Yeah.
Because we always hear about these things that may be coming to Apple Watch. We always talk about them. And yet, all the updates that we have gotten, and this is hilarious because Mark Gurman said, well, next year's updates are going to be more iterative. They've all been iterative. There's never been a major Apple Watch update that has changed the Apple Watch in any kind of significant way. The only one maybe you could say was significant was the always-on display because that was a huge difference.
Right.
But other than that, what really have we gotten? A barometer? An altimeter? It's like there's not really
oxygen sensor.
The oxygen sensor.
EKG. I got to say though, man, when I wasn't gonna upgrade when Series 4 came around because Series 3 was basically the same size. Series 4 slightly bigger, slightly better screens, what they said. But man, I walked into the store. I was like, holy crap! It's 100% better. It was, and so who knows? I mean, this next iteration of their screen. What if you walk into the store and you just go, wow, it's way better. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's odd when you look at this thing and it's like, oh, it's so good already. How can they make it better, right? But they might.
It is.
I mean,
fingers crossed they might.
I mean, I didn't want to upgrade to Series 4. But I walked in the store and I was like, I've got to do it now. I cannot live without that thing because it was just such an obviously better display.
Look,
So
that store was designed to make dollar bills fly out of your wallet. They probably have a whole fleet of psychologists and psychiatrists who are helping them design an experience that will remove any inhibition you have
That's right. They're
to not
pumping
spend
extra
money.
oxygen into the store there.
They might be,
It's
man.
like
They might
30%
be.
oxygen. Yeah,
So-
it's worse
so-
than a casino.
So check this out. This is kind of interesting and kind of goes to the whole psychology of retail store settings. So, when you go into Disneyland, something happens. They've designed it in such a way that it immediately invokes some sense of childhood wonder within you, and that makes your willingness to spend money there increase drastically. And I've been watching a lot of Disney videos because I'm thinking about going to Disney World with my family next summer. And you can watch videos of people going in, and it's like they cross the threshold, and all of a sudden they become like little children. They just want to throw their money away everywhere they go. And I don't know if you guys ever experienced that at Disneyland. I certainly have. And here's another thing. So a lot of you know,
It was hell on
I
earth.
experienced that
My
just about
experience.
everywhere.
Leonard gets that sensation when he goes into the commercial fridge at his local supermarket into the
Right,
Stellar
beside the
R12
deli.
section. It's the same thing. So
Walking, yeah.
I've been buying a lot of merchandise for my Amazon store, and I won't go into the whole Amazon store thing, but I started an Amazon store. And I've been buying shoes and stuff, and I had some Nikes that I purchased, and I brought them into the Cult Command Center here to bring them in before I sent them off to Amazon. And I came in the next day, and I was like, "Whoa! It smells like the Nike store in here." And I started sniffing the shoes. They have a
Whoa.
scent. They have a scent that they inject, I think, into the store. And this is maybe not surprising because there's so many retail stores that
Musty
do this.
feet?
It's
Yeah,
called
the musty
off-gassing.
Is it really called off-gassing?
Yeah, all the plastic crap. Yeah, it's chemicals.
You think? But it smells.
That's toxic. You're lucky you didn't collapse and die.
Oh man,
You
But
better
it doesn't-
ventilate that place.
it doesn't smell like chemicals. It smells like some kind of cologne or something. It has a very sweet, perfumey aroma to it, and it just it does something. I mean, your olfactory senses are so intrinsically linked to something in your brain. Like you smell something, it takes you back 20 years. They know that, so they I think they tie into those kinds of things in a store to interact with some subconscious thing that you have going on that will make you just spend money. And at the Apple Store, they design those things like the Louvre. The beauty is so overwhelming, and they have the high ceilings and the limestone imported from some quarry in a small town in Italy. There's just all of this attention to the beauty and the aesthetic that makes you lose your inhibition to spend money. So of course you walked out of there with the Apple Watch, is what I'm saying there. Listen, even though if you would have saw the features side by side online, you would have thought to yourself,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need it. And with Apple Watch Series 7, I'm just looking at this just on paper, and I'm saying to myself, I don't need this. Now, will I buy it? Yes. I'm going to buy it. Probably. Especially if I go into an Apple store. But
They got to add some kind of sensor, don't they? I mean, that's been their thing lately. They add a sensor every year. They add a sensor.
do they? I don't know if they do that every
Add a sensor.
I don't know if they do that every year. We had some great okay, so yeah, here we go. I was gonna say we have some great comments in the chat here. Adam Broussard, surely they have something up their sleeve. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
and that
good one.
that's a good point. They've definitely been better at keeping Apple Watch stuff secret, don't you think, than iPhone stuff and Mac stuff?
Yes, for sure. And maybe it's just because there aren't as many people who are so fervent about Apple Watch and just digging through absolutely everything to figure out the clues. Nick Capaldi says, I like the new style iPhone. The square looks so... The square look. So the watch would be cool to look the same way. Yeah, dude, I totally agree. And I'll post the picture up right now. So this render that I have on the screen, and I'll describe it for those of you who are listening, it's like a squared off look to the iPhone, which we've talked about before. And this render that you see here, so John Prosser sent me an image of the Apple Watch part that he based this render off of. It looks exactly like this. Of course, it was also super blurry, which I find to be really weird. It's like, dude, why is this picture so blurry? It's like a picture of Bigfoot or something. Like if you wanted to create a fake picture that might convince someone of something, you would make it look this blurry. Anyway, so the design's going to be really cool. I love the design language of the new iPhones and the iPad as well. So just the design alone might be enough to make you want to buy this. But it's just kind of disappointing that we're not seeing more features introduced every year. It's going to be an iterative update, and it's a really small iteration, in my humble opinion. Anyway, so there you are. There's your Apple Watch update. New screen that feels like it's closer to the actual. Well, it's closer to the glass, so it feels like there's just less between you and the actual interactions of the watch. It's going to be faster. And then what else did we say, Lewis? There's
I mean, well, ultra wideband. I mean, what's that going to allow? Is that going to be the thing that allows you to unlock your house? Your lock on your house.
now that is
I
interesting.
haven't read if that's actually going to be required, or if HomeKit, if they're going to allow HomeKit to somehow work with these things, or I'm not sure the details on that actually. What exactly is going to power that feature? But who knows what they'll come up with to have that I can never say it. UW chip. Dude.
You mean the U1 chip?
U1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ultra wideband chip.
Yeah. I agree. It would be useful to have that in there, and I would imagine that they're probably going to put it in just to kind of have it be future proof, so that you can use it with all the U1 stuff. And the U1 stuff is cool. It is really cool. If you've ever used it before, getting it close to your HomePod Mini with your iPhone with a U1 chip, like they sense each other and there's like an interaction that happens. Actually, I turned it off because I found it to be really irritating. Because every time I got close to, I put my phone on my desk near my HomePod Minis, it would constantly be like, "Do you want to see what's going on your HomePod Mini? You want to send some audio there? You want me to help?" And it's like, "No, I just want you to leave me alone." So I turned it off. All right, so there's Apple Watch Series 7. Hey, Lewis, before we continue, do you want to just promote the giveaway real fast, since this is a great time to break and mention it?
It's also an Apple Watch. Yeah, this week we're giving away 2 Quattro Pro Apple Watch bumper cases. Actually, it's like 4 sets of 2, right?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. I don't exactly know why we set it up that way, but anyway, these are made by Elkson. All you got to do to get in on this is go to our website. The giveaway is always there on the homepage. And let's see, what is it? It kind of makes it look like a Casio, right?
Dude,
it's
that was the thing I was confused about, because like you get like a custom watch face here too, and it looks exactly like an 80s Casio watch.
Yeah, and the band is how would you describe that band? It's kind of
it looks like a Casio
segmented
watch band. Yeah.
It's a combo band.
Well,
and
in
bumper
case nobody's
case.
ever seen it, right? I mean, but it basically you're basically putting on a Casio costume on your Apple Watch, right?
Right. You can turn your $700 smartwatch into a $50.
50? I don't know when the last time you bought a Casio watch was. It's like 15.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, they're so cheap.
It's just like a full 80s nerd vibe, though. I mean, they still make these things. I don't even actually know.
Oh, dude, they make them.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
They're super popular too. I mean,
Yeah.
this is so vintage 80s. And if you like that 80s aesthetic, I actually love this look. When I saw this, I was trying to figure out how to get this watch face on my actual watch, and I guess you have to they have some process that you have to go through. It's not like some.
It's a custom watch face they got made by a French designer.
Uh-huh.
And to actually get it and it actually includes a whole bunch of complications. So you can customize it with real complications. So it'll actually show you your heartbeat or the weather or whatever, the temperature. But you have to get it from the company. So they'll send you a special file that you can install via this third-party app, which is free. So you got to download a third-party app, set it up on your watch, and then get this watch file from Elkson, which you'll get if you sign up for their newsletter or if you buy one of these bumper cases. And then you can load onto the watch and customize to make it like a Casio.
Dude, it's a cool look. It basically reskins your entire Apple Watch to look like a Casio watch. So if you're into that look, actually, I have a Casio watch that I never wear because it doesn't have all the functionality of my Apple Watch. So here you could have the best of both worlds. Dude, all they got to do for the next Apple Watch, they don't even have to update it. They could just say, hey, we're going to allow third-party watch faces. Isn't it surprising that we're here and we still don't have these? I mean, just look how cool this thing is. All you need to do is let developers create their own watch faces and set the world loose creating, a zillion different watch faces so that you could have a custom look to your watch. It would be infinitely customizable. I don't know why Apple hasn't done this yet.
Yeah, well, Apple's not really known for that kind of thing, is it?
Well, that's
you
a good
can't
point. Yeah.
Can't customize your iPhone either.
Right. Yeah, but a watch face is such a different thing than your iPhone home
I think it
screen.
would unleash a whole bunch of creativity, but I bet there's a whole bunch of IP issues and stuff as well. They probably don't want to get into. Maybe.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so there you go. I posted a link in the show notes, and I posted a link in the chat. If you want to go register to win one of these guys, I encourage you to go do that because you know what? You just might win. You just might win it.
You could enter under a fake name, Irfan.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll never get busted. I mean, Cult of Mac employees are not allowed, but
let's see here. I got to come up with something that rhymes with Airfon. Any suggestions? Maybe about Frerefon. You think that would out me? Maybe not. Okay. Well, speaking of cool Apple Watch features, so here's one I just wanted to highlight because I thought this was really cool, and we've got this story. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can bring this up about 9 really cool features that were included in iPad OS, iOS 15, and Mac OS Monterey that Leander's going to touch on here in a second. But one of the things I just wanted to touch on here right away, if I can be so bold, is this really cool feature they introduced into iOS 15. How to get notified. This is a Mac Rumor story, by the way. How to get notified if you leave an AirTag or Apple device behind. And they have like a whole how-to section here. But, dude, this is a really cool feature. And this is so strange. This is something I talked about in previous shows, and it only affirms that not only is TC listening, Bob Mansfield is definitely tuning in. Hair Force, he doesn't miss an episode. Yeah, Eddie Q, he probably catches it from time to time. He's usually at the craps table in Las Vegas, but I'm sure he tunes in every so often. But this is a really useful feature that will allow you to go into your Find My app. I'm showing this on the screen too, by the way. And if you want to watch this episode or past live broadcasts, you can go to watch.thecultcast.com. It will take you to our entire playlist. Watch.thecultcast.com. That's all you have to do. And you can see there's a new option here when you go into one of your devices to turn on Notify When Left Behind. Now, you might think this is a reference to the Rapture. It might be. You've been left behind. All your friends are gone. You're still here, you POS.
And then you get an alert on your phone. Congrats. You're the last surviving person on Earth.
But you can see you turn it on, and then when you leave a gated area, geo-fenced area, it will notify you that your device that you want to leave behind or that you don't want to leave behind.
Well, it's just when it breaks
there.
a contact.
What's that?
It's just when it breaks contact with your phone.
Yeah, which
so
you might
you get
think...
alerts. I get alerts here at the office. I get alerts at home. You know, whenever I'm away from my keys, which have got AirTags on them. And it works great. It's really reliable. And you get an alert on your watch too.
Sorry,
like
I was
you
just
go to the
looking
restroom and you leave the keys in there. It starts telling you when you're in the restroom.
Yeah,
you left your keys.
Or you're leaving like your Apple Watch behind or something, which today is invaluable just because you got to wear your mask places and you can't unlock your iPhone without your iPhone or Apple Watch. I was just looking at the Apple or at our chat. I'm sorry, I got so distracted. And the only comment that my eyes fixed on was this one by Nick Capaldi, who says, "I have very little earwax, and I do, and if I do, it's very dry and flakes right off." And I was like, "What the hell did I just stumble into? What are you guys talking about?" I'm not even gonna read it anymore. I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to know what you guys are talking about, but congratulations for having a perfect amount of earwax to Nick Capaldi. So, how weird. God, it's getting weird in there, guys. What are you guys?
Web's best earwax community.
Yeah. All right. So, one of the things I was kind of bummed about, and I was hoping this would make the cut, is it seems like this is a feature that will only work on your iPhone with other devices. So you have to have your iPhone in order to know that you're leaving something behind. What you can't do, at least I don't think this will work, is have
That's
it
a good
work
point.
with
What if you leave your iPhone behind too?
Or because what I was hoping it would do is work on your Apple Watch and say, hey, you're leaving your iPhone behind. Because that's usually what happens to me because I'm almost always wearing my Apple Watch. But I don't think that it works that way.
Well, I get an alert on my watch when I leave the keys behind. So, maybe
do?
it would work with the phone too.
Well, only if your phone is there. I think you have to have your iPhone, because I mean your Apple Watch is, it's basically an
Linked to your
extension
phone?
of your phone, right? So
Good
I don't think
question.
this
Yeah,
would
good
work.
point.
And I think they say as much in this Mac Rumors article, although it wasn't clear to me if this would work if you forgot your phone. Would your Apple Watch let you know? Now that's the dream scenario right there. Is if any of your Apple devices would let you know if any other was being left behind. Like that's kind of the way you want it to work. But in any case, so here's one really cool feature being added to iOS 15. And if that's not enough, if you're yearning for more, LK, he's got a whole list of them for you. Now, Leander, you don't have to go through these, but I thought we should at least promote the piece if you want to give it a plug.
Sure. Yeah, Ed wrote a piece about these overlooked features because there were so many that were introduced during WWDC that they couldn't obviously get to them all, and so he dug up a few of the ones that weren't called out, but he thought were pretty cool too. And this ranges from iOS 15, iPad OS 15, and Mac OS Monterey. The 9 features that you might have overlooked, but are worth checking out, and it's a pretty good list. That was in there, and there's a couple of others. But I would definitely go check out the story if you get onto the site, including enhanced print options.
Oh, I can't wait for
wow,
this.
not
Which we were
the
talking
enhanced
about.
print options.
Hey, you know what? How many times have you actually wanted to print something and you're like, I wish there were more options here on my iPhone. I have to go do this for my Mac. That actually happens to me, not infrequently.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool, but we were making fun of it.
And what was the other one? You can arrival and departure times in Apple Maps. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, it's useful.
What an innovation!
Dude, now here's one that's interesting. Now, most people won't think this is interesting, and I agree, but it is interesting from an Apple ecosystem perspective, and that is you'll be able to install security updates without installing feature updates. And I was reading this story this week. God, I forget where it was from. It's probably on the wonderful website CultMac, where they said basically that iOS 7, remember that major redesign in iOS 7? And it traumatized a lot of people. And my parents are included in this. Like when they installed the new OS, iOS 7, they were so confused about where everything went. Everything looked so radically different that they were saying that it I think this was Macworld. It might have been a Macworld article that people have like PTSD and are really really afraid of updates and are apprehensive to install new versions of iOS because they're afraid it's going to change everything. And so they have a problem with people not moving to the newest OS, and now there's all these security holes and everything. So now Apple is going to let you install the security parts of some of these updates, but you don't have to install the features. I just think that's pretty interesting. They learned a lesson there. Did you guys ever hear that story about how eBay, I think like their background to the site used to be yellow or something? Did you guys hear about this? And
Not ringing a bell so far.
So they wanted to change the color from yellow to white. And so they just did it, and then people revolted and demanded that it go back. They hated the new design, and so eBay changed it back. And I probably have some of the details of this story. No, not quite right. But they wanted to change it to white. So what did they do? They did the frog in the pot method. They just changed it from yellow to white, like one shade at a time over a period of time, and no one noticed. And eventually they landed back on white.
So it was yellow? Really?
Yeah, it used to be yellow, and then they changed it to white. And Facebook does this too, right? So they'll iteratively move things into a direction, so people don't get mad and leave. So Apple, it seems like they're going to start doing this now too. It would be interesting too, wouldn't it, if they would allow you to update, but certain features wouldn't be rolled out, right away. They would be rolled out over time, and then people wouldn't be as apprehensive. So there's like a continual update happening. And you don't have to like go through this huge process to update to the new OS. It just kind of like moves you there over a period of like 2 months or something. Anyway, so all this story, 9 great but easily overlooked features in iOS 15, iPad OS, Mac OS Monterey is actually really interesting. I encourage you to check it out if you're interested. Link in the show notes. Let's talk about the M1 Max, Leander. You have an M1 iMac. I was kind of wondering every time you join the show, your head is always slightly tilted 16 degrees to the left, and I thought that was weird. Yeah. And now I think I have my answer.
Because apparently there's a manufacturing defect in some of these new M1 iMacs that causes the display to be mounted on the stand in a way that's not perfectly aligned, so that you get a crooked display. This was sort of publicized by this YouTuber called iPhone Do.
iPhone Doe. Yeah, it's like
iPhone Doe. Talking about not pronouncing things properly. Over the weekend, he published a review of the M1 Mac, and he found that his machine appeared to be tilted one side, a mounting disparity that was visibly noticeable and proved with a ruler. So Mac Rumors took a look at this, and they tested it, and they also found that they also have a slightly crooked display. Mac Rumors videographer Dan had noticed the iMac was crooked and seen the problems at his desk, but it appears not to be in the case. And so they document. I looked at the Mac Rumors story. They point out to like 3 of them. There's a couple on Reddit, and one of them, some person apparently said that their display was off by 1 millimeter.
Huh?
Which
is not very much.
No, are you kidding? Are you kidding? It's a 1 millimeter discrepancy between the right and left hand sides of the display. So I would imagine that might even be within Apple's tolerances.
No way. Absolutely not. The doors at Apple Park are like, hair, right? I mean, they would never let that.
You think
that
a
would never be
millimeter
within the acceptable tolerance. And I gotta say, if I had one of those, and I noticed that, I would never not notice it. I would just sit and stare at it all day. I would be. I can't believe that they let this happen. I honestly, when I was watching that video, I'm like, the guy's measuring it with a bent paper clip or something. But then he at least busted out the little.
How much was it off?
Clear ruler. I think he said like
6 inches?
7 point. It was 7.6 centimeters on one side and 8 centimeters on the other. So that would be like 4 millimeters, right? See the way I did that math there. Anyway, it's that's hard to believe. I don't know. 3 of them in the world.
Isn't this a precision product? Full of precision components. I mean, how do you mount it? It's not tied on there with a bit of string or something, or some tape. I mean,
like
it's
7. There's a row of 7 screws in the back.
And they're built by machine. I mean, most of they're machine, don't they?
You just arrived at the point I've been waiting to mention. These things are built by robots. How is this thing off? It should not be off at all. And look at all the straight lines on here. I mean, the reason it's probably so noticeable is because the stand has so many, sharp lines in it. And then you have the monitor attached to it, and it's perpendicular to the stand. And so, yeah, of course you would notice if it were slightly off. I don't know how much of a tolerance could not be perceived by the human eye, but we're pretty good at noticing when things are not aligned correctly. And so the story that comes to my mind is like, you had one job. Like the guy who had to attach this, like you had one job. Put the screen on straight. This would drive me crazy too, and it's one of those really small problems that you feel bad complaining about because there are so many important things happening in the world that this doesn't seem like it's significant. But dude, you spend over $1,000 on a new iMac, maybe even $2,000 depending on how you spec it. You expect the screen to be straight. And I know that Apple will give you a new one, but what are they going to do with these? They're probably going to, they can't even sell them refurbished, I don't think, because they expect them to be perfect. So what do? Do they trash them?
Melt them down.
Yeah, they'll have to smelt them down, I guess.
Yeah. I guess if you buy one of these things, whip out the ruler on day one.
Yeah, and measure it.
Take it back if it's not right. I started wondering if it was just people's desks not being quite straight or stuff, but it just doesn't seem possible. But
all right, well, look, we're running long, so let's skip this this EU regulation story. The one thing I will say about it just real fast is it looks like Apple is eventually going to have to allow a way to sideload apps. So basically, the long and short of the story is the EU is potentially passing new regulation that would force Apple to allow people to sideload apps onto the iPhone. I think it's about time we do this. Tim Cook's argument is this would make the iPhones less safe. I don't know, man. I think the real problem is that you don't want people to bypass the App Store because that means you're going to lose a ton of revenue. I think that's what's really going on. Because look, the Mac, you can install any app you want, and why can't you do it on the iPhone? And with everyone using the apps to access the internet nowadays on their phone, everyone uses apps. It feels like you need to allow people to install any app they want on their own iPhone. My iPhone.
He is right though, isn't he? That it would, it does open up a security hole.
It might. Yeah.
I mean, because I was doing a bit of torrenting the other day, and I was I'm always a bit nervous about that. And in fact, I do it on a NAS. I won't let it go to my machine. I do it on a network attack storage
Yeah.
device. But if you're getting something like, if it's coming from an untrusted source, you never know what you're going to get. And it could easily install some malware. Look at all the stuff going on on the Android platform. There are a lot of problems on Android out there with malware, nasty apps that steal your details.
Yeah, but they could do
which
what
this
they
isn't
do with the iPhone or with the Mac, and they could say, well, you could only install apps that are signed by Apple that we know don't have malware, or you can have the option to just do whatever you want. It's your iPhone. You can
That's
install
true.
whatever you want. You take the risk.
Yeah.
If you completely demolish your iPhone, but you're not going to do that, man. They have so many security protocols in place to disallow apps from accessing core functions of your phone and your Mac. I just kind of think the worst case scenario is you'd have to restore your phone, and then you'd be fine again. Anyway, so I think that we're moving in this direction. I would love to see this, regardless of the security concerns, because everyone knows there'd be security concerns. But in my mind, the choice is, do you want to take the risk or not? It should be my choice to do it.
I personally like to do it too. I'd like to see it as well.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So let's talk about Apple TV Plus. The trial is coming to an end, my friends, and this is something that you need to know about. If you have an Apple TV Plus trial, who's doing this? Lewis, why am I taking your story?
I don't know. I guess you're just greedy.
Yeah, well, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to sit here and just be amused by the whimsical sound of your voice. Take it away.
Wow. Okay.
Where is it?
Well, the big multiple times extended 1-year free trial is about to actually go away. They extended it because of the pandemic and perhaps because they didn't have enough content to really keep people around. But end of June, boom, it's actually coming to an end. So if you have been using that free trial, or let's just say you signed up for that free trial and haven't been using it, it's a good time to go and unsubscribe, shut it off so that you don't get charged starting in July. The other thing that Apple did recently is that they cut that 1-year free trial that you get when you buy like a new iPhone or iPad or Apple TV or Mac. They cut that from 1 year down to 3 months. So, baby steps toward becoming, less of a freebie service and more of a something that maybe people are going to pay for. We have a how-to on the website about how to cancel your trial. It's really simple. You just go in on your settings and the settings app, I guess. Actually, I can't even remember. But you just got to go in there and make sure you find it's under. Is it under settings or is it under iCloud? I think it's under iCloud, right? Anyway, I didn't prepare for this story.
You open up the App Store. You tap the avatar.
Is it the App Store?
That's what it says.
No.
If you're doing it from your iPhone or your iPad, open the App Store, tap the avatar in the top right corner, and then tap subscriptions. Find and select Apple TV Plus. Tap cancel free trial. The next step's critical. Tap confirm. Boom. Then you'll be out.
It's also you can get into it from the iCloud subscriptions too. So
yeah.
Anyway, easiest way to do it is just do it on a Mac or a iPhone. You could also go online and type in all your stuff and tv.apple.com, I think it is. And but anyway, the point is just. I think actually this is going to be a kind of a critical juncture for Apple TV, right? Because now suddenly they're not going to just have this giant group of people who are automatically signed up, and I mean they're going to have to start taking some hard looks at just exactly how many people are paying for this, just exactly how many people are interested in it. I mean, I still think. I'm going to keep it. I've got an Apple One subscription, so I think that's actually one of the smarter things they've done is bundle it together with all these other things. And so, who knows, maybe they won't have a giant drop off, but I got to say, if I was just paying $5 a month for Apple TV, I don't know if I'd keep paying $5 a month for it. I've got so many other subscriptions.
Yeah. I'm going to let mine lapse. They just don't have anything in there that is going to really keep me in. Although I will say, seeing what they did here, it unraveled their entire marketing plan to me. I'm like, this is actually really smart. How do you get people to take on a new service, to adapt a new service when there's so much competition? You give it to them for free, which is what they did. They gave it for free to virtually everyone, and they came in with a really low price, surprisingly low, in an attempt to get you used to their content, right? They kept building up their library. What's the next step? Hey, we're going to give it to you for free, but not for as much time, right? And then what are they going to do after that? Oh, hey, that $4.99 price, now it's $6.99. And they're going to just keep building it up, and they're going to slow boil you in the pot. So eventually, they release this content. They get you hooked. Like, look at what they're doing. There's that new Will Ferrell show coming out, right? Look at how they're releasing it. It's really interesting. What are they doing? 3 episodes right up front, get you hooked, and then the rest of them come out once a week for 5 weeks. Yeah, it's just
the drug market works.
Exactly. And we know that TC is well versed in the drug market, and he's using those same tactics that he learned on the street to get you hooked to
Main streets of Robertsdale, Alabama.
I can't
Cupertino.
Can't believe you're going to turn it off there, Irfan. You're not going to get season 2
dude,
of C.
Yeah, I know that's the only thing that I want to see. But other than that, I just, I don't know, man. I mean, Buster gave me free access to his HBO Max, and I'm like, HBO Max has so much content. Netflix has so much content, and Apple TV Plus just still doesn't. And for $5 a month, if there's a show or 2 shows that you care about, I think that maybe the $5 a month will be worth it. But for me, I just kind of feel like it's not really. I'm not watching it now. I have it for free, and I'm not watching it now. So for me, I'm like, why would I continue to pay for it? But the marketing tactic is smart. They're going to just keep adding more and more stuff, try to get you hooked, and they're going to start boosting up the price. It's exactly what Disney Plus did. Except Disney Plus launched with Disney's 80-plus years of history and content, right off the bat. So they had a huge library of stuff to offer you, and Apple doesn't. Now, I've actually been impressed by how much new stuff they're pumping out all the time. They're constantly coming out with new content. Yeah. But I just haven't really found anything compelling.
You look at that page, and it's kind of shocking. There's so many different shows on there already available, and so many more coming. But
they have that great new sci-fi show coming out too, and I'm a sucker for sci-fi, so it's tempting. But sorry, go ahead.
The thing that I think that they're gonna have a problem with, they already have a problem with, is just not that many people are watching, and you can't get like that sort of you can't have a cultural impact if nobody's watching.
Right. Yeah.
And they kind of got it with Ted Lasso, a little bit. I mean, I'd say they got a fair amount of pick up with that, right? I mean, a lot of people are talking about it. They won a bunch of awards, and it is a great show. I'm looking forward to season 2, but they haven't had a like a Breaking Bad or a Sopranos or something like that just every single person is talking about. And it may not even be possible to have that kind of thing. Although, Netflix, everybody that I know is talking about the Queen's Gambit. I haven't watched that yet, but
it seems like these services do. They sort of hit a streak, don't they? It's like Netflix had a moment, I think, last year. What's HBO had recently in recent years? I mean, nothing.
Westworld. But that wasn't really recent, was it?
Yeah, right. Or Game of Thrones.
Godzilla versus Kong.
I watched that. Oh my goodness me! I wish I could unwatch it, but it's a perennial problem for these services, isn't it? Like Lewis says, you have to have that. You've got to hit that cultural nerve, to get people buzzing and talking about, your offerings. Oh, they have some great stuff. I watched a couple of those Tiny World nature documentaries.
Awesome. I love that show.
Utterly charming and lovely.
It's great. Unfortunately, there's only like 12 episodes total, right? 2 seasons of 6 shows each, I think, or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I had some friends over, and we, had dinner, and it's like, oh, we want to watch something, what are you gonna, have you guys seen this? It's like 20 minutes, and they're just like sitting there like, they loved it, but they'd never heard of it, and so I think that's the problem that Apple TV has, is there's not enough people watching it, there's not enough people talking about it. I mean, we write tons of reviews we have a reviewer who writes reviews of basically just about every show, and they get a little bit of interest. It just, I don't know how excited people are about it. I mean, I think somehow they got to come up with something, some kind of thing that just gets such a group of people. I mean, maybe the sci-fi stuff they're coming out with, they've got Foundation trilogy series coming out. I mean,
A lot, Dickinson. Although I only watched a couple episodes of that, I'd like to actually go back and see if try and pick that up again because it was kind of an interesting show. But that's got a pretty good. It got critically acclaimed, and I think it has a small but dedicated, viewership. And that's the problem with a lot of the shows, isn't it? They've been well received, but like I said, nothing's really broken out. But maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe you can survive if you have like a whole bunch of little shows.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Lacey's Story is getting good buzz a little bit. That's a Stephen King thing that just came out last few weeks. I think part of the problem is their whole kind of. It just feels like they're distribution isn't the right word, but they're the way that they let the shows out, right? Because this series, it's all at once. This series, it's 2 episodes at the beginning and then 1 a week. I mean, the whole 1 a week thing, I don't know, man. I don't think that's all that happening at this point in time, because it makes it impossible to watch the whole thing at once, right? And so what happens is you've got all these different threads of TV shows, right? I've seen 2 episodes of this one and then 1 episode of that one, and I don't know, man. It makes it harder to get into the show. It makes it harder to get that like full like, oh my god, that whole season was awesome. And I mean, is anybody watching stuff 1 show a week?
Here's why they do it though. I just had an epiphany the other day thinking about this because Disney Plus was doing the same thing. And I was like, God, why do they do this? Because Netflix just drops the whole thing all at once. Well, the reason that Netflix drops the whole thing all at once is because Netflix is creating such a deluge of content. They can't be trickling out 1 show a week for all these different shows. People would get confused. They got to just drop it all in your lap. And then next week, we got another new show. We're going to drop all that in your lap. But Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, they don't have any content. So they need to sprinkle it out weekly to keep you subscribed, because otherwise you won't stay around. You'll do what they don't want you to do. You'll subscribe for a month, you'll watch all the content, and then you'll leave. And they don't want you to do that. Because I was telling my wife, I'm like, what we should do is we'll subscribe to Netflix for like a month. We'll watch everything that we want to watch. Then we'll move to HBO Max, which now I don't need to pay for. And then we'll move to Apple TV. You can just jump around from service to service and just watch their shows that they drop off all in one big, drop, and then leave. But they don't want you to do that. They want to get if they make a show, they want to get at least 2 months out of you. So they're on those nips. They're tweaking them. They're milking you like a cat. Did you know you can milk a cat, Lewis? It's actually very easy if you have the right technique.
I'm not going to say what I want to say.
And so they try to get you to stick around, which is why the whole 3 episodes up front strategy I thought was so interesting, because they're tinkering, they're playing around, they're strategizing. They're saying, oh, well, if we just do 1 episode, maybe it won't get you hooked. But if we drop off 3, this is a new show with Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd. And I thought it actually looked interesting. Now I'm a huge Will Ferrell fan. I actually think he's funny. So for me, I'm like, oh, well, but they get you the 3 episodes up front. You're invested. It's only $5. Stick around for a couple months and watch the rest of it. That's the strategy, right? Rather than Netflix, who's been doing this for so long. They're the leader. They're making so much content that they'll always have a new show for you to watch next month. They're releasing new shows, probably multiple shows every single month. And so they have no reason to sprinkle it out, over time, like Disney Plus and Apple TV.
I'm almost convinced.
Yeah. I think it's misguided. I mean, I'm sure that's why they do it. They don't want to see is a headline like, nothing new on Apple TV this week, which is completely possible.
Which is the headline almost every single week.
So, they got some new things coming out in the next couple of weeks, which I'm sure is time to like, let's keep people around, right? We don't want them bailing on their free thing, but I just don't think that you can get the kind of headspace you need to make a real impact if you're dropping stuff off like that, every other week. I mean, I guess WandaVision kind of did that, but if you, I don't know. My experience with all this stuff is that if it's a really great show and I'm really into it, even if it's just like an okay show, if I can watch the whole thing, I'm more likely to watch the whole thing, right? And take something away from it, as opposed to 2 episodes here, an episode another week, and then I forget about it 1 week, and then another, you can end up like not even finishing watching a show.
Oh, dude, I totally agree with you, but we think about, and by we I mean like consumers and then the streaming services, they think about this totally differently. Your sentiment is, I want to get through the show. I want to enjoy it. Their sentiment is, how do we get this person to subscribe, and how do we keep them subscribed, right? So they're coming at it from a totally different angle. Because I agree. I would much rather give me the 10 episodes, and I'll just binge watch all of them like I did with Westworld. Because I came in late, and 3 seasons are already there, and so I wasted an entire weekend watching Westworld season 1, and I was so gripped. It so had me that I could not pull myself away from it. I was going to the bathroom in a Home Depot bucket in the middle of my living room, which I do that anyway. So that's not unusual, but I didn't want to get away from the content, and that way I could watch at the same time. Let's wrap up with this. So a few people are just spouting off
more earwax talk
in the chat.
Have we moved on to
you don't even want to know.
eye boogers?
Butt nuggets. Jason Autry, Mosquito Coast is really good. Haven't heard of that one.
Supposedly
one guy.
great.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, I've heard that's good as well. People have been raving about that. Sorry.
Okay.
And I may watch it now that it's all out, but
All
I was
right.
sure not going to watch it one episode at a time.
Ted Lasso, people saying Ted Lasso. You know what's funny? I was really interested in Ted Lasso, and then I saw one of the trailers, and the trailer was so bad for season 2. It was so cringeworthy for season 2. It completely turned me off of the entire show. And I don't want
I
it
had
anymore.
the same experience.
You did?
Really? I guess I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I felt like it was like the laughs were so contrived. There was one joke that Jason Sudeikis made that bombed so hard on me that I was like, I don't ever want to watch this show ever again.
Well, I mean that show it's lovably corny, right?
Oh,
I mean,
is it?
It's
Okay,
a
well,
corny show.
So maybe I won't like it.
But it's heartwarming. I don't know. That was one of the greatest things of. I mean that show was awesome, coming out in the middle of like that pandemic year and all that political strife. It was such an uplifting show, and I just felt like it was an oasis of niceness.
An oasis
Which doesn't,
of niceness.
That's not something that, oh, great, I want to watch an oasis of niceness. No, you want to watch The Sopranos. You want to watch somebody's, teeth broken out on a bathroom floor, right? But
at least some point, I want someone's tongue to be ripped out at least at some point. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's just,
geez, come on.
It was a great show.
Okay, let's see here.
I'm very interested in the next season.
Nick Capaldi, For All Mankind, another good one. Oh, geez, what a snooze fest that show was. I barely even made it through. Adam Broussard, he's with me. He says HBO is fantastic. To that I say, Raul. Let's see here. Jason Autry, the app is really bad. Are you talking about Apple TV? Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Michael Cornelius, Tehran was a great show. Didn't see it.
Oh, didn't see it. Yeah.
I haven't got around to watching that one either.
Okay. And let's see here. Sean Fitzpatrick says Mayor of Easton was good. Isn't that show about Alex E. Heath's mom? Oh! I'm just joking. Don't you dare talk about my girlfriend like that.
Well, so,
What?
what's the show that has gotten Apple TV the most headlines? It's that stupid Oprah Winfrey thing
Really?
with
I was just gonna
with
say.
the Royals.
Oh my
That got headlines for days.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, Oprah.
Prince
Oprah is your marquee feature there. I don't know about that.
Well,
there, TC.
and that kind of gets to like one of the problems I think Apple TV has, right? It doesn't have like a persona or anything. It's a total grab bag, and there's like 2 sci-fi shows and 1 kind of creepy horror show, and it's weird. It's like you think about like HBO, right? And it's those shows. I don't know. Somehow they have a certain heft, right? They all kind of not all, obviously. I mean, they got comedies, but somehow Apple TV. I don't know. It's just got it's like it's just got no personality. I don't know what it is.
I know what you're saying, but
Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. There's way too many people in this chat talking about stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, Tehran. We said that. Blah, 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 blah. Mosquito Coast. Guarantee you're gonna watch it more. It's great. Okay. Yeah. I'm not seeing any other people now. It's quickly trailing off into just absolute chaos in this chat. And I could never
This might be
mention
the first time anybody's ever talked about Apple
that's
TV.
I can tell that we've been talking about Apple TV a long time because our viewership has plummeted over the last 20 minutes because people don't care about Apple TV Plus. But you know what? It is an interesting topic, and it's time. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with it now that Apple is moving into trying to get people to actually pay for it. And I think that a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, not going to be willing to do that. But anyway. I'm going to go ahead and start up the music. and that means that the show is officially over. We've been going for like 90 minutes, and that doesn't include the pre-show that we did. And we tried to keep it short, but of course that didn't work. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. If we missed a show, there's something out that you need to tell us about, you got the urge to splurge, we're all on Twitter. I don't know what that means. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Leander is at LK. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute album conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. Well, thank everyone for listening. Thanks for everyone hanging out and watching live and in the chat. And we'll see you guys next time. Where's my button? There it is. Boom! Another record CultCast in the chat. This might be our best one yet. Think of all the subscriptions they'd get if they added CultCast Live to the roster of shows. Lander?
Yeah. That is
Can you imagine?
quality video.
On Apple TV?
Apple TV Plus. They could immediately boost the subscription price to $39.99 a month. Sales would
Canadian
surge.
dollars.
Screen whenever you booted it up.
And yet subscriptions would still go up. Let's see here. Erfon, I can have a guten Abend. The sun just came up here in Germany. Oh, Konath!
Wow.
God, I love speaking German. And I love Germans. Guten Tag. Guten Tag, my hair.
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen.
Right?
Yeah. Where's Leandita? Where's my friend Leandita? You dance so
How do you
nicely.
say here?
What?
I can't
All right,
remember in
guys.
German.
I'm hovering over the end stream button. Things have clearly fallen apart. We'll see you guys next week.